It's 2:57 a.m. and like clockwork, I seem to wake up exactly at the same time. I get angry, I get stressed, I get annoyed, and then I try to force myself back to sleep, and because I'm doing that, it takes me hours and hours to fall back to sleep again. So why, oh why, Josie Posey, does it take me so long to fall back to sleep again? Why at the exact same time? Why 2:57? Why 3:22? Why 1:39? Why is it like I can almost set my watch to it? And what can I do to prevent this from happening in the future? Well, this video is going to help you with that, but before I help you with that, and before I help you understand what's going on, you need to understand the difference between normal nighttime awakenings and this Swiss awakening that I'm talking about here, this insomnia awakening. So normal awakenings, well, they're normal basically. So every single person on the planet will wake up multiple times throughout the night. And that's because sleep runs in cycles which last for approximately 90 minutes, and wakefulness is part of this sleep cycle. So every time you move through a sleep cycle, at the top of this sleep cycle, you will wake up, sometimes 5-10 minutes. Good sleepers will be waking up multiple times throughout the night. The difference is because wakefulness to them isn't something that's threatening, they just never remember waking up. If, however, you've got this phenomenon where you wake up at what seems to be like 2:57 or 3:22, and it's like you can set your watch, what has happened here is a learned behavior. So the body clock is incredibly smart, and it knows to the minute what time it is. So for example, good sleepers, they can set their alarm at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they can report that 6:58, boom, on the dot, they will wake up. How would they be able to do that if the body clock didn't know literally to the minute what time it is? So the body clock knows to the minute what time it is. So let's take, for example, you're someone who wakes up, let's pull it out the air, at 2:57 by your watch every single night, and it takes you hours to fall back to sleep. Imagine the scenario where at 2:57 a.m. a big fat chubby wolf wanders into your bedroom. How are you going to respond to this? You're going to become incredibly anxious, incredibly stressed, incredibly frightened, scared. You're going to be essentially put in fight or flight. Adrenaline, cortisol, all of this is going to spike through the roof. Obviously, there isn't a big fat chubby wolf wandering into your bedroom at 2:57, but if on one given night, for example, you were to wake up at 2:57, look at the clock and you reinforce this wakefulness. Then you start thinking, it's 2:57, I need to get up at 6, so I've only got this amount of time to fall back to sleep. I really hope I fall back to sleep again. It's been 10 minutes, I haven't fallen back to sleep. How am I going to function at work tomorrow? How am I going to feel? Am I going to be able to do my job properly? I'm going to feel dreadful the next day. And then you start using force, you start using effort, you become anxious, you become annoyed, you become stressed about the fact you're not sleeping. Then imagine the next night what's going to happen. So you basically taught your brain at 2:57 there's this really threatening, stressful thing that happens to you. So the brain is then thinking, well, okay, at 2:57 there's this stressful, worrying thing that happens to you. I better make sure that I make you awake, make you alert, so that you can respond to this threat. So the next night rolls around, 2:57, the body clock knows what time it is, it knows what's coming. 2:57 you wake up, you look at the clock, 2:57 again. You reinforce this as a pattern. You think about the previous night, you become angry, you become stressed, you become annoyed. You reinforce this as a pattern of sleep. The next night, the next night, the next night, pretty much, we've done that for a week. The brain then knows 2:57, make you awake, make you alert, because there's a really threatening thing that happens to your safety at this time. So essentially what's going on is this is a learnt behavior that the brain has taken on. So how do you break it, and how can you prevent it from happening? Well, the best thing you can do, most simplest thing, is to turn your clock round. Do not reinforce this wakefulness during the night time. So there's absolutely no need to be looking at your clock in the middle of the night. It's just going to reinforce this wakefulness. So turn your clock round and don't reinforce this wakefulness. Incredibly helpful. Another thing that you can do is, if you wake up in the middle of the night, if you're calm, you're happy, you're relaxed, amazing. Stay there, allow sleep to come, and it will. It's not being awake that's problematic. Good sleepers wake up all the time during the night. It's the response to the wakefulness that's problematic. So if you're calm, you're happy, you're relaxed, fantastic. If, however, you wake and you start feeling this anxiety, this worry, this anger, this stress, you start trying to force yourself back to sleep, that is when you would either turn the light on, read a book, listen to a podcast, watch some TV in bed. Blue light won't kill you. Worrying and obsessing about blue light is far worse than the blue light itself. And then go back to sleep when you feel sleepy again. Or if that anger, that stress, that annoyance is really, really acute and you just can't seem to bring your anxiety down, leave the bed in the bedroom, do something that's a better alternative than lying there getting cross, getting annoyed, and return to bed when you're feeling sleepy again. Essentially what this does is it breaks the pattern of the anger, the stress, the rumination, the obsession, the worry which you're teaching your brain in the middle of the night. That's an incredibly helpful thing to do tonight that you can start doing. Long term, however, the most helpful thing you can do is to reduce the amount of time that you spend in bed. Sounds incredibly counterintuitive, but as long as you give yourself enough sleep opportunity, the better your sleep will be. So great analogy for this. Imagine you've got a 9-inch pastry dish. This is someone who's spending 9 hours in bed, but you've only got 7 inches worth of pastry. So this is someone who's only sleeping for 7 hours. Try and spread this 7 inches worth of pastry onto this 9-inch dish. Won't reach the end. This will be someone waking up early. Won't start from the start. This will be someone taking ages to fall asleep, or you're going to have a big 2-hour gap in the middle. This will be your problem, waking up in the middle of the night and taking ages to fall back to sleep again. If, however, you were to shrink this pastry dish from 9 inches down to 7, then that pastry is going to fit onto this dish perfectly. So this is called a sleep window. The sleep window is one of the best possible ways to rebuild your pattern of sleep and to break this habit of these Swiss awakenings when you're waking up in the middle of the night. I'm going to queue up a video so you can set your own sleep window here. I'm also going to queue up a few things in the comment section where you can learn more about counter control, which is leaving the bedroom, staying in the bedroom, and stimulus control, which is leaving the bedroom, to help you with your insomnia. And also check out all my other videos and also my website sleepze.com for expert advice and loads of cool, awesome free stuff I've got on there. All right, see you on the next video. Bye bye bye.